Thank you for joining us this morning. Before we kick off, I'd like to make two important acknowledgements. The first, of course, is to the traditional owners on the land of which I'm sitting today, which is the Gunai-Kurnai people. Please, if you'd like to acknowledge the country you're sitting on today, pop that in the chat function. We'll be monitoring that throughout. And if you have questions, please also pop them in there. And the second most important acknowledgement for this morning is, of course, Agriculture Victoria, who's made this webinar possible through funding us through the Partnerships Against Pest program. So we're very grateful to have their support, and I believe we've got somebody from AgVic joining us today as well. I'd like to introduce Jodie McEwen from the marketing side, who'll be facilitating the session this morning. Jodie brings a wealth of knowledge in social media marketing and engaging folks. So please make good use of her this morning, and I will pass to you, Jodie.
Thanks so much, Jo. It is lovely to be in the Zoom room with you all. I am in beautiful Newcastle, which is windy, cold Newcastle, a little bit north of Sydney today. So slightly warmer here, but you know, us northerners are a bit soft when it comes to winter. It's 14 that feels like 9. So we're in double digits, but hopefully you're nice and warm and toasty wherever you are. Hopefully you're caffeinated, you're hydrated, feeling comfortable and strapped in. I'm really excited to jump into this training today. This is the very first very content-specific, problem-specific training that I've done in the landcare space. I have been working with landcare groups across the country for a couple of years now, and I love doing it. So my goal at the end of this training is for you guys to walk away having the answers to the questions that you have. I'm sure they're rumbling around in your head. They're problems that you have, they're issues, they're, you know, things that you're not quite sure about. So I want you to walk away having had the opportunity to ask those questions, and also hopefully learning some best practice tips and practices along the way. There's two things I always say before I do a training. Number one, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. So if you're wondering, oh, should I ask that? Maybe it'll sound dumb. Just ask it. You're in a room full of friends here. Nobody is going to think worse of you for asking it. And if you are thinking it, then there's probably somebody else who's thinking it too. And the second thing I always say is that I am a mother of 3. I'm used to being interrupted and it doesn't bother me. So obviously we do have a fairly large group, so we won't take that to extremes. But if you do think of something really relevant and it's a burning question, feel free to jump in or pop something in the chat. Jo and Caroline are monitoring that for me as well, so that I don't miss any of those questions. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. We are recording, just letting everybody know that we are recording, so that the people who have registered but are unable to get here can actually still get into the content, but we are going to dive in. So what we're doing today is Smart Socials tackling the pest problem. Like I said, Caroline and Jo came to me with a really specific problem that's happening in the Latrobe catchment area. We've got a problem with pests. We've got people moving to our area. They don't know what invasive species look like. They don't know what a pest management plan is. How can we use social media to educate and train people and help them create behavior change so that we can improve our local environment? I was like, that is a great problem to have. Let's do training that is specific to that. So if you are not here for that exact purpose, that is the content that we are focusing on today. It is going to be, there's going to be lots of content. I'm going to move quite quickly. We only have 2 hours. So if something pops up for you, feel free to pop it in the chat, and Jo and Caroline will let me know. At the end of today, I will let you know that you are going to receive an email. It's a very important email. It will have the link to the recording. There will also be 2 resources for you. One of those will be a PDF content pillar strategy. One of them will be an Excel of a content planner template that you can customize to your organization. And the 4th most important link is a link to a survey. if you find this training helpful, and even if you don't, please take 2 minutes to fill in that survey so Joe and Caroline are able to feedback to their organisation and get more funding and really create training that is useful for you guys. Okay, I'll stop talking. Here we are. So this is me. I am a marketing consultant. Like I said before, I love working in the not-for-profit space, community groups, grassroots groups, and doing really practical hands-on social media training with them. I do have lots of plants and they are real, so I can keep a plant alive. I love books. My husband would say I have way too many shoes, and I am a little bit of a coffee snob. So that's a little bit about me. But what I would love you to do is take a moment and pop into the chat. Tell me who you are and what your name, obviously we've got your name in there, but what organization you represent and what your role is. So when we designed this training, the goal was that we would have training that was really practical for volunteer administrators of social media pages for local land care and environment groups. So if you can. Okay, so we've got, oh, great. South Gippsland Landcare, Upper Loddon, great. Chris, volunteer. Nick, welcome. Lizette, Victorian Gorse Task Force, great. Coa Landcare Group, Traralgon. Welcome, Geraldine. Welcome, Margaret. There's a farmer's wife. I love that. Farmer's wife. Good stuff. Okay, so we've got a bunch of people in here who are living and working in your Latrobe Catchment area across Gippsland, practically wanting to see things make a change. So what we're going to do is the Feral Cat and Fox Management Coordinator. That is a very highly specific title, isn't it? Like of all the job titles, it's like if you had that on your name tag at a conference, somebody would know exactly what you do. Okay, so we've got the right people in the room today to be able to talk about the things that we want to talk about, which is great. These are the things that we are going to be addressing as we go through this morning. So we're going to be looking at understanding what makes great content, okay? When we're talking about content for social media, we're talking about the photos, the videos, the captions, everything that goes into whatever you are putting on your Facebook, Instagram. Obviously, some organizations, bigger organizations, will have more than Facebook and Instagram. They might have TikTok. Who knows what other platforms they have. This training is focused around Facebook and Instagram because that is where most community groups are playing. But we're going to look at unpacking and defining what makes great content and how to reach the right audience. Who are the people that you need to be talking to? What are they interested in? Where do they live? How old are they? What matters to them? We're going to be defining content pillars. And at the end of today, you are all going to get a content pillar PDF that gives you those content pillars laid out. You can, of course, take that, amend it, add to it, build it out as you go, but it's a really useful structure that I find works for community groups to give them structure across their content, but also variety, but help them to know that they are posting things that are in the right things. We're going to look at some best practice content advice and some tips along the way. How to take photos, great photos with your phone, a very simple couple of tips there that are game changing. Scheduling to make your life easier, because I'm imagining this is nobody's full-time job. A lot of you are volunteers, and let's be honest, there's lots of other things you have to do in your day, and also event promotion tips. So there's a bunch of different things that we are looking at there. We're also going to look at content, tone, imagery, video, how to find efficiencies, all that kind of stuff. So first of all, when we talk about great content, what I would love you to do again is to put your ideas in the chat, but tell me what kind of content do you like engaging with on social media? Personally, I'm all for a rug cleaning video. I don't know what it is about the before and after of those rug cleaning videos that I find so addictive, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the transformation that you can see in that space. But is it videos? Is it humor? Is it photos of people that you love? Is it essays? What kind of content are you engaging with? And what kind of content do you love looking at? Great. Something that makes me laugh. Yes, a great story. Great pick up there, befores and afters. Nicole's with me, maybe on the rug cleaning videos, maybe not. Maybe there's something else. I love a transformation, saving species. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that whole idea of like, hell yeah, it's like those things that we know deeply, but they make us feel seen, right? That's the social aspect of social media. Before and after. Beautiful scenery, yes. Beautiful things go quite well on social media. Practical skills, success stories, honesty. I love that, Lizette. A rescue story, absolutely. Practical and relatable, rapid time stories. Yeah, I love a time lapse, a good time lapse. In fact, they can be really very helpful at events. If you have a setup and a pack down of an event, I did that recently at a big concert. It was an empty room and then it filled up with people and then it was all happening and then they all left and it was quite fun. Video, images, picture paints, 1,000 word. Yeah. Lethal control content, comedy doesn't go down quite so well with the public. Good point. Yeah, there are some sensitivities in the things that the content that you guys are looking at. But you've included some really terrific options there. And the things that you like, the things that you engage with, if you think about it, your audience should pretty much be made up of people similar to you. They're interested in similar things. They are worried about the same issues. They live in the local area. There's a lot of similarities between stuff that interests you and interests them. And so what we want to do is create content that is going to engage with people. Relevant, timely content creates engagement. And when we talk about engagement, engagement is essentially the holy grail of social media. So reach is literally eyeballs on a post. Engagement is the actions that people take from that. It's a video view, it's a click on a photo, it's a comment, it's a share, it's a like. All of those things include engagements. And the more engaging your content is, the more the algorithm pushes it out to more people. So really, really engaging content is seen by more people just because that's the way that the algorithm works. Okay, does that make sense? Great, excellent. So when it comes to content, we're looking to create really engaging content that gives people something to do because of it. Leave a comment. What's your top tip in regards to X, Y, Z? Can you spot yourself? There's a bunch of different actions that we can call people to, which is called a CTA, a call to action, or a CTA. Really great content that performs really well for landcare groups, community groups in the environmental space, videos and reels. We're going to look a little bit later. I've got some examples of some of your social media posts. I have researched your groups, and I've grabbed some examples from the groups that I was able to find and to use. And I can show you very clearly, you'll see how content that is engaging photos of people, video, interesting things performs really well as opposed to things that are very graphics based or very text heavy. Okay. Somebody said it in the chat here, was Thomas, a picture paints 1,000 words. It's true. Those photos and images that we have are really, really very important ingredients in the makeup of your social media. So videos and reels, engaging photos of people, tagging photos and collaborators. If you have suppliers, you may have somebody who's donating soil or gloves or something if you're doing a tree planting project, if you're doing a garbage gathering day, then if somebody's tagging, if there's a local waste supplier that is taking away that stuff, tagging in those collaborators is a great way to increase your reach, because when you tag them in or you collaborate with them, if we're talking about on Instagram, then your audience is seeing that copy, but also their audience is seeing that post as well. Okay, so it's a way to exponentially increase the eyeballs on your post, and also to demonstrate the collaboration that is already happening in real life, but we're showing that on social media. Albums are an incredibly simple, easy hack for community groups to be able to get better reach and engagement. So say you've had a working bee and you've had a bunch of people there, you've taken a bunch of photos on the day, you've had a barbecue, you've had people down in the dirt, you've had people at the end of the day throwing rubbish in the bin, there's been a cup of tea along the way. If you've got a bunch of those photos, instead of trying to you could, number one, you could collate them into a reel and create a short little video, a snapshot of, hey, this is what we did today, tie them all together really quickly, pop a bit of music to it, and away it goes. Or you could also put them onto up as a carousel on Instagram with all of those photos. Or you could also pop them onto Facebook and then they display as an album. Every single one of those clicks is classified as an engagement. So if people are scrolling through those photos to try and find themselves or try and find that photo of their mate that they attended with that day, every single one of those photo clicks is an engagement. And so Facebook goes, hey, people are engaging with this post, we should show more people this post. And so your reach increases, okay? Albums are a really simple hack for a way for you to increase the amount of people that are seeing your content. Helpful information works well. Like we said before, timely and relevant. If somebody needs to know, we recently had a weather event in Newcastle, and our local member of parliament said, if you need sandbags, you go to this location. Here's the address to get sandbags for preventative sandbagging. Everybody needed that information. It was really helpful information. So giving people the right information at the right time. And celebrating local wins. A number of you said that you love hearing a great story. And celebrating success is a really smart way to, number one, demonstrate the impact that your group is already having in the local area, inspire more people to be part of it. So those people who are on the lurkers, the people on the edges of your group or in your local community that are just seeing it there. Oh my goodness, did you see what they did? They went out and they had a cleanup day, and that unsightly place down the road, they picked up all the rubbish. How good is that? I wonder if I can be part of that next time. So if you're looking to get more members, to increase your community impact, whether it's specifically a recruitment post, it's probably not, but by celebrating your local wins and showcasing the difference that you're making, people are going to be inspired by that, and they are going to be more likely to want to be part of that. We will be talking about hashtags a little bit later. Okay, so we know that social media, you guys are on social media for a number of different reasons, but I am glad that you are, because number one, that it is actually, I know that there's a bunch of people that are registered for this group today that are not actually yet on social, and a number that are on social media but are not using it very much. It was a very big proportion, Caroline, when you sent me through that data. So if you need a little bit of inspiration, let this help you be inspired to take some action. Social media helps you get found in your local area. More and more people are just picking up their phone and they're going, what's on in my local area? If you need, as a marketer, I'm a digital marketer, I work with organizations large and small, but people are looking for you and they're looking online. If you do not have a presence online, you are essentially invisible to your local community. Okay, I know not everybody uses social. I know not everybody uses, especially in the older demographics, but even then, a lot of those people in the older demographics are really starting to embrace the technology and get found and use online resources for search. Good social media is going to help you get more people at events. It's going to help you recruit more members. You're going to build connections in the community. Who knows when you're going to need a local builder to donate some building supplies or a landscape supplies or whatever it is that you need. Those Koya mats. I saw somebody had some, they had a bunch of those at a tree planting event, and in the Facebook group it was like, are these good? Do you like them? What would we rate them out of 10? There was a lot of debate about these Koya mats that were part of the tree planting, and I was like, I don't even know how to say that thing, if it's Koya or Kwa or anyway. But they knew, those people knew, and they were really engaged, and it built a lot of connection and community in that space. In marketing, the biggest thing that you need to do is to get people to know you, like you, and trust you. Until they do those three things, they're not going to give you money, they're not going to walk in the door, they're not going to take part in any event that you're doing, they're not even really going to take the time to understand what you do. So by giving people a glimpse behind the curtain into your group, a bit of an understanding about the issues that are important in your local area, then you're helping people to know you, like you, and trust you. And the goal of that then, of course, is for us to be able to facilitate behavior change, because people know us, they know what's important to us, they like us, they trust us enough to take action, and they feel confident enough to be able to do that. Social gives you that beautiful two-way communication. It's not like radio, it's not like TV or a newspaper used to be, which was one-way broadcasting. On social media, we have this beautiful opportunity for two-way conversations and feedback that can happen with our audience and the people that matter. Of course, working in the not-for-profit space, showcasing your projects and causes. Number one, like we said before, inspires people to get involved. Number two, anybody here having to apply for any grant funding? No, maybe, yeah, there's a bunch of people. So when you're doing a really great job of showcasing the success that you've had on a project, it's something that grant funders can look at and they can see, oh my goodness, look at this work that these guys have done. They got that funding and they've done this work. It's incredible. It's a no-brainer. Those guys really deliver. Let's give them more funding and pay for their project. Additionally, fundraising is also an important part of being in the not-for-profit space. But again, unless people know you, like you, and trust you, they're not going to give you money. So you've got to build that strong foundation first. Does that make sense? That's a lot of information I've just downloaded there. So hopefully that resonates. Is there anything have I missed anything? Actually, pop it in the chat if there's anything that I've missed that you think is a benefit or one of the reasons your group started social media that I haven't included. If there's something that I've missed, please let me know. Nothing's happening in the chat, so I'm guessing I've included a lot. Alrighty. So let's talk now about what I want to do now is move across into reaching the right audience. So when we're talking about your social media audience, your likers or followers are people who are connected to your page, okay? A follower is, a liker is somebody who likes your page but may not choose to have your page displayed in your feed. If you're looking at Facebook, you'll see that likers and followers, there's often two different numbers in there. So people can like your page, they just go, oh, they feel all warm and fuzzy about your page. But if they choose to follow your page, then your content is delivered into their feeds. Now, it used to be at the beginning that all of your posts would end up in people's feeds. Now it's only between, the numbers are small, okay? So it's between about 2 and 5% of your audience are going to see your posts. However, you can increase that by making sure that those posts are really engaging, just like what we talked about before. So, the better job you do, the more people you will be able to impact. But when we're talking about reaching the right audience, I want you to think about this before you ever post anything. Who is your content for? Okay. A number of groups I have seen almost use their Facebook page as an internal kind of, not an internal chat group, but it's definitely lots of people in the group that are commenting on it. But is that who the information is for? Because presumably you have emails, maybe you have a WhatsApp group, maybe you have a closed messenger group for your group members. Your Facebook pages or Instagram pages should be operating to people who are not yet part of your group. Okay, it's an invitation to get people who are locally connected in the area, and it needs to then not use too much jargon, not use too much internal language, acronyms, hello acronyms, too many acronyms and there's so many acronyms, right? But if you don't know what that acronym means, if you've just moved to that area and you don't know what CRT is or Roundup, or I don't know what it is, if you don't know, then you can feel excluded. So making sure that we're reaching the right audience. So I want you to just pop in the group chat for me. Who is your content for? Who are you currently? Think of the content that you've been posting across social for the last 6 months. Who are you writing that content for? Local people who have land to manage and want to volunteer in the environment space. Yep. For the locals in the areas, local surrounding areas, people in the community interested in the environment, local landholders and property owners. Okay, great. So excellent. All people managing gorse and rabbit. Excellent. Should all people be managing gorse and rabbits? I'm not going to be managing gorse or rabbits. So there's a location specific. Yeah, so location specific is important there. Morning. Okay, great. Nice point, Chantel. Volunteers, potential donors, landowners. Yep, across the area. We're aiming at our local community. We have a broad audience from students to land managers to scientists. What happens when your target audience is vast? That is a really great question. What you need to think of, because lots of people have broad audiences, and often people say, I say, who's your audience? And they go, oh, look, it's everyone. And I'm like, pretty sure it's not everyone. It's like, well, I asked that to a group of Thermomix consultants. I was doing some training with them. I said, who's your target audience? They said, oh, look, it's really everyone. I was like, everyone. How much is a Thermomix? And they told me the price. I was like, okay, so middle to upper socioeconomic. They're like, oh, yeah, I guess. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, and is it mostly men or mostly women that buy them? And they're like, oh, definitely women. Like I have sold one to a guy. I'm like, okay, so your broad audience that could be everyone, when you actually sit down and think about it, is actually quite niche. So your content is for local people who are either interested in the environment, already on land, living on land, people, nice point, Lizette, people who lack the confidence to act on specific issues, but also they feel passionate about it, okay? They want to understand it. They want to be able to make a difference and to do the right thing on their patch of land. Most people generally do want to do the right thing, but if they don't know what the right thing is, then they can't do it. So a large part of what you're doing, this is the second part of the question, what is the purpose of your content? Okay, we're talking about, a lot of this is education. We to help people implement a waste management, pest management plan, then we need to go, okay, if we want to help local people in our area dealing with foxes and cats and weeds, gorse, whatever it is, we need to help them understand, number one, what those things look like, how to identify them. Number two, what the pest management plan is, what the treatment options are, how to execute that properly, and then also what the local results are. So are we trying to educate them, spur them on to action, get them involved in a local group? Do we want them to come along? Are we inviting them to an event where they can learn practical skills? Are we finding who the local supplier is for the chemicals or the gear that they need to implement the waste pest management plan. And also the third thing is, what is the call to action? When we give people information in a post, we're going to look at this a little bit more, but what do we want them to do at the end of it? There was a few things that I'm going to show you some examples in a little bit. Some posts were just thrown up, shared with no context, no call to action, and no real idea of, no context of why it was being shared on the page. I'm just like, I don't really know what to do with that. And I'm trying to find a call to action here. So what is the call to action? Do we want people to download a fact sheet? Do we want people to attend an event? Do we want people to tag a friend who lives locally that might be interested? Do we need them to give a shout out of the best, their top tips of a supplier or something that they've used in that space? What do we want them to do? We need to think about that really clearly. Raise awareness, broaden the reach of the group and help people find solutions to management. Awareness of tools, educate with science-based management technique. Call to action is click on the link, drive users to our website, donation page. Great work on that one. Learn something specific. So there's a lot of this is education. What I'm hearing from you guys is a lot of this is about education. That's great. Okay. When we can really clearly define that target audience, when we're thinking about the people who are at the other end of this, reading it, the people who are not yet in our group, okay, the people who are landowners or local people, the people that need education, we need to think about what matters to them and how we can create specific relevant content that is going to catch their eye, okay? Now, something that is true about human beings is that people engage with stories where they can see themselves or what it is that they want, okay? Different audiences are going to want and need slightly different information. So be mindful of crafting that message to hit the mark. So are they new to the area? Do they want to meet the locals? Do they need to find the best place for coffee or a night out or a place that's open where they can buy milk at 4 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon? What is it that they need? What else is what opportunities are there available for them to help to get their neighbours or to get to know the people in the local landcare groups? Do you have a coffee morning? Do you have an open house? Do you have a working bee? Do you have something that they can get involved in? Are they active environmentalists? Do they already know? Do they already have some knowledge in this area? Is there opportunity to leverage their skills and to use their skills? Do they need help? Do they need advice? Do they need resources? Do they need training? Whatever it is, when we know who they are and we know what they want, that needs to influence the way that we write our content, and we need to make the call to action really, really clear. Okay. And when the call to action is in your caption, we're going to look at a few examples in a moment, but consider separating that call to action out in your copy. Okay. Potentially, some of you guys are doing this really well in regards to using emojis in your post to kind of highlight it, to make it easier to read. People don't read big blocks of text. Well, people very rarely read big blocks of text on a mobile device. And most social media is interacted with on a mobile device. I don't know about you, but more and more I'm having to do this to be able to see things or make sure my glasses are on my face. I'm not doing large amounts of reading text-heavy documents on my phone. So making sure that our copy is concise and succinct and paired up with an image. We're going to talk about that shortly. So feel free to critique the new girl in the room. Okay, this is what Google told me a pest management plan might look like. Obviously, I am not in the Latrobe Catchment area. I don't live on property. I'm not dealing with gorse or cats or deer or foxes. However, even I could think that this would make good sense. Now, potentially, there's this is a very, very simplified version. I looked at some of the land care documents, I read some of the white papers, and there is a lot of research that goes into this. There's a lot of best practice management plans. I do not presume to know any of it. But if I don't know it and you don't know it, then the new person who's just moved also is not going to know it. So we need to be able to give them enough information to help them understand and take action without overwhelming them. So from a very simple social media content base, I was like, okay, well, first of all, we should identify the pest species. Now, they're not as cute as Caroline and Joe in their little cat and deer, you know, antlers, but identifying the pest species, what's what, who's who in the zoo. These guys are baddies. Basic, okay? How do we communicate our local plans? Why does this matter? Why does it matter that feral cats are running rampant? Why does it matter that foxes are in our area? What impact does that have? Because if you don't dig into the problem a little bit, people don't understand that, oh, actually, feral cats and foxes destroy habitat, kill native wildlife, and then the biosystem, no, biosphere, ecosystem is disrupted because of that, which has long-term impact. Okay, so we need to talk about our plans and tell people why it matters and how we're implementing those plans. We need to define those responsibilities and collaboration. Hey, you're new to the area. Jo does look a little bit like a wallaby. She's a cute wallaby. We need to say, this is where you can go to get help. This is what we're doing. Our local group is available and we can help you with this. We offer training, we offer resources, we can help you log your data, we can help you get a baseline. Who does what, essentially? We need to, people, if they're new to the area, we need to know who's who in the zoo, why does this matter? Who can help me with this? And then how do I actually do this? What are the pest control tools and methods that I need to know about that are really going to be my best friend? You know, that I'm going to have to do weekly, monthly, annually. What is the season? Yes, these points could easily form a scheduling structure and they will fit into the content pillar strategy as we are going to be looking at. Then also we want to promote participation in our pest management plan. Okay, this is when we are doing something in a common area locally. This is when it's happening and this is where it's happening, and we'd love you to come and get involved in this. You can be part of making a difference in your local community. And then we also, of course, there's data, smart, logical people that are results focused and driven. We need to explain the monitoring and the evaluation that happens. Why does this matter? Are we actually making a difference? What do the results tell us? Numbers tell a story. And what does the data say about, and also, do I have a part to play in the monitoring of these pest species in my local area? What do I really need to do? What is my part to play in that? How can I contribute information that is relevant, that is practical, that is accurate? Who do I need to tell it to? And also, how does that information form part of a bigger piece of the pie and shape the picture of how we're actually doing as a catchment area, as a region, as a state in regards to dealing with these pests? Okay, so please feel free to rubbish my pest management plan rollout according to Google. Jillian's giving me she's going, actually, it's not too bad realistically. So I'll take that as a positive thing. But, you know, we could very, very easily, and obviously I'm a layperson and I don't live on a property. I live in a city. But if these, 6 steps, if you guys were following these 6 steps or something similar to these 6 steps, it would really, really help you as you shape your what your content plan looks like. So I've talked about this content pillar strategy a little bit, and now I'm going to give you a little bit of do I really need a content pillar strategy anyway? Is it just another thing? Is it actually going to make any difference? Well, I've been doing it's almost 10 years now that I've been running social media training working with businesses. And I would say that a content pillar strategy is something I've only developed in the last couple of years, but it is the most helpful thing that I've ever done. It's actually even more helpful than a calendar, which is a big call to make. I'm also going to give you a calendar template, but it is more helpful than a calendar because it also defines, it is, blah, blah. Your content pillars underpin all of your content. Okay, so what are you actually going to be talking about? It gives you focus so that number one, you know that you're covering the most important topics. Okay, if we're talking about our local pest management goals, what do we need to cover? That's the focus. It gives you variety. Okay. Now, in the same way that I love dessert, every time I go out to a restaurant, I'm not only eating dessert. Sometimes I just want an entree. Let's be honest. Sometimes I want an entree and a dessert. Sometimes I just want a really, really good steak. And sometimes I'm just there for a bowl of wedges and a glass of bubbly. So we don't always want to eat from the same section of the menu. So we need to have a little bit of variety in our posts because different people are seeing different posts at different times. You do have a broad audience and you need to make sure that there is something of interest. Different things will catch different people's eye. Okay, so your content pillar strategy also gives you variety. The last thing is stability. It takes away the uncertainty of not knowing what to post, and it gives you confidence because you've already planned the strategy and you already know that it's aligned to your group's goals. Okay, so as a local group, I'm sure you would have I'm sure there's a strategic plan somewhere. I'm sure there's a local goals and a strategic focus. In marketing, when I work with a business or a not-for-profit, I'm like, well, what do you guys want to achieve? What is your strategic goals for the next 12 months? When I know that, then I can align the marketing plan to that. It's exactly the same as what you would do. You would go, well, as an organization, we want to do these 3 things. Great. Then let's make sure we're doing those 3 things in our marketing and communications across our social media. Okay. Does that make sense? So this is the content pillar strategy that I've built out for Latrobe Catchment Landcare Network and associated friends. Like I said before, those 4 pillars, we have education, promotion, community engagement behind the scenes. If your content includes a bit of each of these, then you are going to be hitting those goals. Okay. So we talked a lot at the beginning about education, how people can identify pests, management plan examples. What is the membership process to become part of your group? A lot of community groups, especially, say to me, oh, we want to get more members. And I'm like, okay, do you ever talk about the process of what it takes to become a member of your group? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, maybe we should talk about that and talk about the benefits of membership. I'm not talking about posting about that every month, but a couple of times a year, it probably makes good sense. If you've picked up followers in that time, they don't know what the membership process is. You could be showing them some management plan examples or something that this couple on this farm is working really well for them. They've found this little secret to success and it's working really well for them. It's something for other people to try. Checklists, frequently asked questions. What's the first thing that people ask when they move to a property and go, oh, I know I need to deal with this. Where do I start? How much is it going to cost me? How often do I need to do this? What training or gear or chemicals do I need to be able to get started? So that education piece is probably going to be your biggest piece, but people don't want to stay there all the time. There's also other things. Often people are looking for donations or support or sponsorship of in-kind kind of products. Are you running training for your local group? Have you got testimonials from people who say, there's nothing better than just to spend a rainy Saturday planting trees with friends, knowing that there's going to be a really great lunch at the end of it. It's such a great feeling to be making a difference in our local community, and I love being part of this group. Have you got events that are coming up that you need to promote? That promotion space is usually the shortest space, and that's intentional because people don't like being sold to, right? Nobody, even in the not-for-profit space, people don't like being sold to. But it is important that we promote the events, we give people opportunity to give and to get involved. Your community engagement piece is a really great space where this is where you can collaborate with people who are experts in their area. We've got Dr. Ted, who is coming to our area, and he's putting on this amazing, he's telling us about his 25 years experience in dealing with XYZ, and come along, be inspired. You know, we're going to have soup and a bread roll and a glass of wine. I saw that somebody was promoting a group and they were like, a light meal and a glass of wine. I was like, I don't even care, but I would come to that. I don't care who's talking, but that sounds like a fun kind of event to be part of. But collaborating with those people who know what they're doing in that space, sharing expertise. If you've got coverage in the local media, if there's something happening on the news that is relevant, if you are sharing those things, then make sure you give people context to that, okay? If you've got suppliers that are providing you stuff, give them a shout out. Thank them for their generosity, because without those people, you really are in a lesser, you know, you're less well equipped to do what you need to do. Anything that's inspiring, that inspiration piece, that success story, and also focus on the people who are part of your group that are just doing that are just part of their group. They turn up. They bake an amazing brownie. They are the ones that come by and take the bins out every Thursday. You know, whoever it is in your group, people connect with people. And when you can show your community and promote your community and build connections with your community, that is just deeply inherently attractive to people. It's something they want to be involved in. So show them that the stuff. And I'm pretty sure that this stuff is already happening in your groups. Okay, what we're just doing is making a story out of it, making it into content.
Just want to jump in there, Jodie, as part of the
Please.
education side of things,
Yep.
and possibly maybe not so much a promotion, but Shresti has posted a really good question. You know, with pest control, often you get pushback from people who care about animals, whether they're pests or not. How do you manage that hard conversation and perhaps put content up that can help balance the conversation around that?
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. Thanks for raising that. One of the things that I will talk about a little bit later on is about engaging with comments, all comments, responding to every comment, good or bad. And it's often the bad ones that are the hardest ones to engage with. This is a really tricky issue. I think at the end of the day, what you can say is, we love animals. We are for animals. We want our native animals and our native environment, our local environment to thrive. And because of that, a level of control is required. We have introduced species that are destroying our native pets, our native animals. And look at the things that you can affirm, because they're like, oh, we love animals. It's like, well, we love animals too. In our local environment, not all animals are created equal. And, you know, we do our best to, what we do is done to best practice standards, to humane, humane practices, etc., etc. And then at the end of the day, if you can just focus on the things that you agree with those people, yes, that you love animals as well, the reason that you're doing this is because of this, then sometimes you just don't give it any more oxygen than that, because sometimes some keyboard warriors just thrive off the battle. They've got nothing better to do. They're not actually taking any action or doing anything practical themselves. They're just whinging online about, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. So maybe I don't know if Landcare or if other groups locally, you guys would know, we've probably got enough people in the room, if there is almost a playbook of responses, because that would be something smart to kind of come up with, a little bit of a checklist or even a one-pager of how to respond to, you know, negative comments. We'll focus on what you can, you know, agree on, state your case. At the end of the day, that is what your organization is about. And you know that you're doing the right thing. And so that's the way it needs to kind of, you need to leave it, I think, at some stage. You know who you are, you're confident, you know, and everything else can just kind of has to just wash away to a degree.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Thanks, Jodie. Appreciate that.
No, that's all right. Thanks for raising it. So yeah, I don't know if that's actually a good point, Caroline and Joe, maybe to be able to raise that, as if that's an issue that other groups are facing. It could be something that you develop at once and share, even just with the people in this group, if people have had some useful responses to be able to deal with comments in that space. That would be a good shared resource. The behind the scenes space, obviously people like a glimpse behind the curtain, right? It's the stuff you do, the setup, the pack up of an event, things of beauty. Somebody talked to me before earlier about how one of the local groups shares a lot of content about local beautiful landscapes. Things of beauty are always going to perform well. Getting up real close and personal to almost anything, you can find an element of beauty in that. Day in the life, making an impact. Animals are almost always going to get great engagement on anything that you do. So that hopefully that content pillar strategy is enough structure, and there's enough ideas in there for it to kind of spark something for you guys. None of this is set in stone, and please forgive my lack of deep knowledge in your area, but hopefully there's enough in there that you can take that and run with it and expand it, and it's something that is useful for all of you guys. Okay, so we talked before about helping people identify the pest species. So I don't know, they're not as cute as Joe and Caroline, but even just finding simple royalty-free images that you can use, or images you have permission to use, or images you've taken yourselves. If you want to make a note, Pexels is a royalty-free website. It's PEXELS, Pexels.com is a terrific resource for royalty-free royalty-free images that you can use for anything. Yes, Unsplash. Thanks, Shreshti, for sharing that. Unsplash is also a great one, and thank you. And Pixabay is also good. You guys are all over this. You guys should be teaching this. So yeah, so finding those images, that's a very practical way. I just found these on Pexels in a 5-minute search. Okay. Yeah, find the ones that look evil. Exactly right. Don't find the ones where they look cute. However, you know, identifying those images identifying those pest species is a good start. Now, I'm going to move now into some really specific stuff, and you're going to start seeing photos of some of your groups. Now, I have screenshotted examples from a number of groups that are registered to attend, so hopefully they're here. I've always screenshotted these so that you can see local examples. Okay, I'm not just talking about hypothetical stuff, but the idea of these is to go, this is what we've spotted, this is what they're doing well, and this is what maybe you could do next time. Okay, this is an opportunity. So if you have created one of these posts and I'm saying something negative about it, please don't feel upset about it. The whole point is to go, this is what is here, and this is where we could make that better. Okay, so it's very much a growth space. Best practice posting techniques. Before we jump into that, Victorian Gorse Task Force, it's just satisfying to say that. It's like a little Victorian Gorse Task Force. Like, I hope you guys have got a little meme or something that goes along with that, because it's quite catchy. Gorse and rabbits go together like peas and corn. Gorse hides rabbits from predators. It's all bad. Reducing gorse also reduces the impact of rabbits. You've credited the photographer, which is lovely, and you've tagged in the organizations that are that this is relevant to. It's the picture links to the photo. It makes good sense. I would say this is a good post. We can see at the bottom there's 10 likes and loves and 6 shares on that post. Okay, so really quite it was a really engaging post that you guys had done there. When we talk about what makes great social ingredient content, like any cupcake or any good cake, there are a few really essential ingredients. These are the ingredients. Number one, the image or the photo. The image, whatever is visual, your quality photos or images are absolutely essential. People's eyes can process photos much more quickly than they can have texts. Your image or your video is what is going to stop the scroll, okay? That is the number one most important choice of your post. Number two is what comes next. On Instagram, it's that first little line of text before the see more dots. But on Facebook, the same thing is still true. There is a certain space that is displayed above, below the photo, and then, you know, depending on how long your text is. If you think of an old-fashioned newspaper, a headline, those few words in that headline, they're big and they are punchy, you know? Russian missiles strike America. They're punchy words. They have weight. Now, that attention-grabbing headline, or it could be a question, is often the only thing people will see. On Instagram, it's definitely the only thing people will see. And on Facebook, again, it's the first thing that people will see. So it's the most important. If they're not interested in what is there, they're not going to click to see more and they're just going to scroll on by. So number one opportunity to stop them is with your image. Number two opportunity to stop them is with a really great attention-grabbing headline. Number three, the whole meaty part of your post, the reason that you're posting your post, you're educating people about something, you're giving a testimonial, you're inviting them to an event, that needs to be convincing, it needs to be succinct, it needs to be really, really clear, okay? And the last thing is your call to action. What do you want people to do? Do you want them to register for an event? Do you want them to go to your website, download a checklist? Do you want them to sign up? Do you want them to buy a ticket to something? What do you want them to do? Those are the 4 ingredients that, honestly, the success of any post hinges on those 4 things. Now, most people are taking photos with these guys. Thankfully, we have them in our pockets, okay? They're amazing. But you can almost, if yours is in your pocket or in your hands all the time, you can almost guarantee that your little lenses are dirty. So the first thing is to, number one, turn your brightness all the way up. I know it, you're all good, you know, environmentalists, you've kept your brightness way down low so that you're not wasting battery. Turn your brightness all the way up. Get as much light, same as an old-fashioned camera, get as much light into that image as you can. Turn your brightness all the way up and clean your lens. Literally a clean t-shirt. I honestly am often just wiping it on my jeans or my shirt. If you're feeling really smart, then you could use a tissue or even a lens wipe, amazing. But a clean t-shirt will work. If you do those 2 things, you're automatically going to get better photos. Remove the clutter, okay? Remove clutter from your photos and use your legs. Your legs are the best zoom that you have, okay? If you're at an event, just grab your photo, walk up boldly and take the photo that you need to take and then get out of the way. Don't zoom. Natural light is always best. The photos that you're going to find that struggle are ones that are inside. Fluoro lights can be just beastly. And the third thing, well, the last thing is take lots of photos. We're not paying for 26 shots on a Kodak film case anymore, people, okay? We can take lots and lots of photos and then be your best editor and be hypercritical and just only post the best one. Find the best one. Heart it, love it, review them and go, that is the best photo. I'm going to post that one photo, or these are the best 5 photos that show what that event was really like. I'm going to post those photos. Okay. So take lots and just post the best photo. Too many photos is way better than not enough. Okay. Now, here is a very practical example of, with group shots, you have to stage the shot. Sometimes you do, yes. Sometimes you can just manage to capture volunteers in the middle of something and they're doing a great job. That's the photo on the left, okay? But the photo on the right was the one where I said, hey guys, look at me, and smile. And so they were still in the middle of what they were doing. But what can you notice other than potentially them smiling? Actually, just put it in the chat. What do you notice are the differences between the photos on the left and the photos on the right? Because I took lots of photos. I followed my own advice and I only posted the one on the right. What did I do to the one on the right? Why did I choose the one on the right? I cropped it better. Yes, it's closer. Exactly right. I zoomed in. I got out the distracting chair and stuff on the left-hand side, the distracting blue bag on the lounge behind the lady in the pink jumper. There's happiness on the right, okay? They do. They look engaged. They're looking at the camera. They're engaged with me. They're busy. That it looks happy. And so there is just, those 2 photos were taken about half a second apart. But honestly, then with the good photo, you can even make that better by cropping it and removing the distractions, okay? That's just an example. It's obviously not an award-winning photo. It's literally a photo taken on my iPhone, but I wanted to just show you a practical demonstration. Again, with this one, we've got a photo of my beautiful Emily that I used to work with. We've got it at a weird angle. It's a bit blurry. There's weird stuff happening with the light. And the one on the right is a much more engaging photo. It's clearer, she's better framed, there's more context to that photo, okay? So even with the photos that you have, by removing distractions, you can focus people's attention on the things that really matter, okay? Obviously, there's a lot of learning that you could do around photo editing, and there's lots of YouTube stuff you can do there. Okay, I did promise to have your actual examples. So Cardinia Environment Coalition, I think we have somebody in here from there, which is great. I love this photo of the little red hatchback on the left, packed with all these plants. I love it because it was unexpected, but also, and it's actually kind of also beautiful. Like those plants just are, the colors of them. And anyway, obviously a lot of other people thought so too, because they liked it and it got 3 shares, that post. Very smartly, they've cropped out their number plate, super smart. But this is a great example of Cardinia Environment Coalition using some like hashtags, sorry, not hashtags, there are hashtags, emojis. There's a lot of emojis there. I would say almost too many, but they've picked them really well. And each of those emojis works with what it's talking about. You know, there's a clock for the time, there's the pin for the location. This is actually a really great post. Potentially, if Great Garfield Rec Residential Environment Action Group had a page that could have been tagged in. But you've got clear times, great photo, can you help, the call to action, call or text Meg for with the phone number there. Great work on that. Now, hashtags. I knew you were gonna raise that. I saw that in the chat before. In the space that you are in, hashtags can be really okay. Hashtags are a little bit of code. The hashtag is the little bit of code that sits next to environmental volunteering at the bottom, and it's or create habitat or indigenous plants. That essentially creates a little bit of code to link that post and say, hey, this post is about create habitat, indigenous plants, environmental volunteering. If people are searching those hashtags, environmental volunteering, create habitat, Indigenous plants, then that post will show up if people are searching for that hashtag. Now, please tell me if you ever search Facebook for hashtags. In all the years I've been training, I've had, Carolyn, you do? Okay, you're the second.
Marketplace. Only in Marketplace.
Marketplace. Okay,
Yeah.
Marketplace. I've only ever had one other person literally search for a hashtag. Hashtags can be good for comedy, yes. But people have to be searching for it. So I've only ever had one other person you search Facebook as a user for hashtags. It's much more an Instagram thing. LinkedIn, yeah. But look, also you are working in your local area, your local catchment areas. You're not looking for global impact. And I would say that the number of people that are searching those specific hashtags are so small, then it's not going to increase your reach. Somebody said, I think you should explain. So you can see that environmental volunteering is 2 words, but there is no space between. So that is the hashtag. It is just the letters that come after the hashtag, which is the hashtag for itself. Sometimes you can use a hashtag and they are just funny, but in regards to increasing your visibility or reach, you will, for the size groups that you have and the audiences that you have, they are a very insignificant. If you want to, you could research local hashtags and see what ones are performing well, but because you know the potential people that you are going to be reaching, it's not a thing. It's not a big thing. So don't worry if you are not using hashtags. They are not a large part of what you are going to do. And actually, that's a really good point. Too many in a post can actually be really just annoying. Good point in that. Hopefully that's addressed the issues about hashtags.
Can we just before you move on, Jodie,
Yeah.
Lizette's asked a question about the benefit of using emojis.
Yeah, look, I am an emoji. I am for emojis. I would say that this Cardinia Environment Coalition one has too many emojis, but a couple of emojis can almost act as a bit of a bullet point to break up your text. You can see in the post on the right, the Gippsland Water one, only flush the 3 Ps, poo, pee, and toilet paper. They've got literally poo, pee, and toilet paper. It's not pee, but it's a yellow heart. So we all know what that is. That would be more my kind of a sprinkle as opposed to a big long list. But I, you know, I don't mind an emoji. I think there is a balance. Your copy still needs to make sense, and it does for the CEC one. That copy still makes perfect sense. A well-written sentence or 2 is going to help you, but emojis can be useful for breaking up text and also just making it really clear what it is. It also adds a level of warmth, I think, to a post. It comes down to your group, what your style is and how important that is to you, but it's definitely something to try. Yeah. The Gippsland Water post on the right, I know we had Gippsland Water registered. I don't know if we do have anybody in here. Obviously, they're a bigger organization and they're affiliated. But I did love this shot of Pete because this actually was a video of Pete, and it had huge engagement, 397 likes, loves, laughs, 47 comments, 93 shares. Like, Pete actually is pulling out a very impressive blockage from a pipe. It's a really beautiful way to educate people in a way that feels real. Okay, Pete is the real guy who is out there pulling wet wipes out of a pipe, and so he did a great piece and he filmed himself doing it. So it was a beautiful education piece, and people just really obviously engaged with it and enjoyed it. So a great example. I talked before about reading lots of text, and also the amount of text posts. Now, Swifts Creek NSA Landcare Group, this is one of the posts that I was talking to you about. I noticed that a number of groups do lots of sharing of other people's content. It's almost like a pinboard, okay? So it's quite the content is quite scattered, and I also noticed that there's multiple posts on a day. So this post is an example of, they've shared this from CFA, the Country Fire Authority, Swifts Creek Landcare Group, and it's just a straight share. They've literally pressed share. There's no context or why this matters. There's no sentence at the top to say, you know, as of Monday at 1 p.m, our area is okay at Swifts Creek, but find out more information here. It's just a straight share. Now, this one, I guess, has, and there's a lot of text on there, okay? There's a lot going on. But when you are sharing somebody else's content, it's really, really important to tell people why you are sharing this post. Pull out the most important thing about why this post, tell people why you're sharing it. Why does it matter? Because otherwise it's just like, oh, I saw that, chuck. And I just chuck a slide up. It's up to you guys to work out what that is. I'm just putting it here, and you can work it out. Yeah, look, lots of people have done that. But it is really important to give people context. It doesn't have to be a lot of context. A sentence, a line, a sentence or two is usually heaps. But if you are sharing somebody else's content, tell people why you are sharing it and why it's useful to them. Okay? If you live if you don't live in the East Gippsland Shire Council area, then check these links to find more information that's relevant to you. Whatever, share it with a friend. Could be something like that. The shot on the left that I have is, I actually don't even know what group. I think it is Swifts Creek again. On Facebook, you can, when you go to the homepage, you can just see the photos. You know, you've got the tab of photos there. And this is the photos that is just an amalgamation of Swifts Creek photos. What do you guys notice about this?
It's too busy. I look away.
I look away because it kind of hurts my eyes. Okay. Anything else that you notice?
Looks like they're just flyers that they're posting.
Yep.
Something you normally put up on a notice board or something.
Yep.
They're not similar. They don't have like a theme that goes across all of them.
Yeah, there's no kind of style, like it doesn't feel like they're necessarily from the same organization, does it?
And
they're also a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
It's confusing to the eyes. It's like I'm confused where to stop and read.
Yeah, that's right. So you know, this one about carbon emissions, it's all too busy and wordy. Those things don't make great social media posts, okay? It's too hard to read. People are busy, they scan things, and that's why talking about a headline is the most important thing that we can do, grabbing that headline and making sure that people can engage with that, because otherwise it's too hard to read and people just scroll on by, and then important information gets missed because we haven't presented it in a way that's easy for people to pick up and eat, right? The other thing, I wanted to touch on this too. I've noticed a couple of groups are sharing multiple posts on a single day. When we talked before about the amount of people that will see your post, when you are posting multiple times a day, you're diluting that reach even further. Okay, so spread your content out, and if you're posting about one thing multiple times, use a different image. Tweak your caption to keep it fresh, and hopefully appeal to other people by trying something a bit different, okay? Because when you do same, like these guys have done with this one, same, oh, it's like just bombarding you with information. It's not really going to get people to interact with something just because you're putting it up there. You're not inviting them into anything else.
Can I just, going back to that photos one that we were talking about on the left there, like
Yep.
I don't use, I mean, I might go and go, oh yeah, show me all the photos, but that's a Facebook, I'm guessing.
Yep.
And you like that, what you would be seeing in a feed, and each one of those would be coming up as an image that you would be reading, not as an amalgamation of 9.
Correct.
Not
Yep.
saying that it's that your points aren't correct, and there is a lot
Yep.
of text there, and obviously it is just here's a flyer, and I've done this multiple times with
Yep.
flyers for events.
Yep.
But people are not going to see them mostly like that. They will see the flyer and go, oh, there's this event on. What's
Yep.
the details? And it saves you putting all of that in text because you've just put an image up and gone, here's the details. So what's the difference between putting that information in the text of a Facebook post as opposed to just putting an image of the flyer?
When you are posting a post, I might have an example of it. What you're doing is you're wasting your real estate, your image real estate. You're wasting it with a subpar image, and then you're including text, but it's as an image. I don't know about you, but I understand that those images are flyers for things, but a flyer is a flyer for a reason. A poster is a poster for a reason. A social media post is a different beast. A newspaper article, a magazine spread, it's all website, okay? Lots of different ways. That is not best practice engagement. So yes, you're right. It will take more time. It will take time to grab the time, the information, the topics, and pull out the photo and include a link. It will take more time, but I reckon you're going to get more people attending your event, because those ones on the left there are not super engaging. They're not either, they're very text heavy, and they're not focused on people.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they're not great flyers either, but I was just thinking,
Sure.
like, I mean,
Yep.
they're not bad, but as you say, it's different. I was just wondering, is it better just to have that photo that's on them, or a better photo, whatever, and then the text as
yes,
opposed
I would
to.
say yes. I would say yes.
Most people wouldn't view the photos like that. They would see them as a full image, a bit like the right-hand one, that fire danger amendment period, like that's a similar flyer type thing. Anyway, carry on, sorry.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, and look, I understand that there is a time issue. I understand that grabbing a poster or a flyer that is already created is going to be is a much better use of time. So, and if that's working for you, then that is great. What I'm here to tell you is that this is a social media training, and from best practice social media, things like this are much more engaging than finding a poster that's just stuck on there for an event. Okay, so we've got, this one from Victorian Gorse Task Force, great close-ups, great close-up, killer image. I love the way that they've responded. Good comments, great images, would work really well on great education piece. The one on the right, trees for weeds. Here's our newsletter. This is a great example. See about have images picked for variety. Okay, so variety. We've got a bit of a shot of the tree planting. We've got the sign. We've got the people having their cup of tea under the thing. It's a link to their website. It's more engaging than a picture of that newsletter just shoved in there. I love this one from is it Campaspe? Is that the right Upper Campaspe? I love this shot. This is a the thing that grabs me about that is just it is so stark that that image tells 1,000 stories, 100,000 worth of vegetables eaten in 72 hours. Deer are the problem. How important is that as an education piece? Really, really useful. And again, we've got this shot on the right of another approach to dingo management. It would be really smart if you're doing something about dingo management to have a photo of a dingo. somewhere, because you have to work very hard to find out what that's about. Whereas if you stuck a photo of a dingo on there and said, hey, tell us what you think about, join us for a cuppa and these drop-in sessions. If you're talking about dingoes, have a photo of a dingo. It's a very simple, very, very simple, quick win there. You'll notice also
just a quick one, because I'm responsible for all these posts
Yep.
for these two groups. I get bombarded with things to share to the community. And in the Omeo region, in that group, Facebook's really used as a notice board.
Yes.
There are a lot of groups that use it as a notice board, so it's just sort of continuing that.
Yeah.
It probably hasn't been as much about engaging new members, it's just being used as a notice board. So I understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I've been asked to get this out to as many people as possible by, the invasive species vertebrae group.
Yeah.
So it's been shared
Yeah.
on physical notice boards, everywhere, emails, Facebook. So it's trying to get across every communication channel.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a really relevant point.
Side of it,
Yeah, I understand that. I would be just going back to them next time and saying, hey, if you're going to give us something about a dingo, maybe stick a photo of a dingo on it next time. Like if what they're giving you is not fit for purpose, feel free to go back to them and request that from them. And maybe it won't happen, but maybe it will, and you don't have to do it. So, this is just there. You can use Facebook as a notice board and just post things. But what impact is it having? Is it getting reach? Is it getting, are people clicking on it and liking it? Are they responding? Is it an invitation? Are people coming to these events because they've seen it on your thing? Because I wouldn't even click on that thing on the right from that one, because I would just scroll past, because I'm like, I can't be bothered to find out what that is. And that
it's very specific to the farmers who've got that issue.
Yeah.
So it really is very specific to certain who are members of that Facebook group. So I sort of,
Yeah.
And I think that's the relevant point too, Jodie. Like Caroline, you are acting as you are just sharing posts from other people as a notice board, and the reality is the time isn't there to change this and make it more engaging. And there's two different reasons why, whereas as you were saying, Jodie, if that was your post, here would be a better way to do it. But for Caroline, it's not worth you changing that in order to, it's just like, here is the information that I've been asked to share. And both of those are shares with no explanation, which is interesting from what you were saying before, because they're both shares without, either group going, here's a good reason for it. But I think that one from the Invasive Species Council still works.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. Yes, it does, because the picture tells a story. Because the picture tells a great story, and what they've written at the bottom is that headline. In 72 hours, feral deer devoured 100,000 worth of vegetables. That if that's all you had, like, holy smoke, that's powerful. That one does work. You're right.
People get a bit sick of dead lambs, though.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah. And to engage the farmers they're trying to engage, the farmers know what the dead lambs look like.
Sure.
And most other people don't want to know what they look like.
Sure.
So it's a bit of a
different. There's complexities, absolute complexities, absolutely. The content that you have to work with is the content.
Yeah, it's sort of a difficult one. I understand. And yes, to engage people to become members or to become involved in programs, yes, this is probably already there just to put it in another medium to contact people who are already interested, if you know what I mean. So that was
sorry.
Go.
I've just seen another question from Geraldine about the use of QR codes, which might be worth
I'm going to get to that.
Okay, you will.
I'm going to get to that.
Awesome.
You need links, not QRs on Facebook.
So, again, just another beautiful example of a, beautiful day at the market. Come and join us. Two classic land care posts, 100%. Tagged in the other Landcare, East Gippsland Landcare Network. Those guys, I did some training with them back in February. I was down in East Gippsland, got to do a full day workshop with a bunch of those guys, and it was so great to see them put into practice what we were talking about in training. You know, again, just classic land care posts. This is what happens. This is what it looks like. But just good examples, good photos, good variety. Okay, event promotion tips. I know that you are often going to be running events. Now, this is not a landcare post, but I wanted to show you, and I know we've just touched on the value of a flyer and reusing a flyer. This is an event that was by an organisation in Doncaster. They made this beautiful poster on the right. It would have been probably printed up and stuck on a wall somewhere. Maybe it was on digital screens, I'm not sure. And then they've just picked that up and grabbed it and used the image as the event header. Now, the problem is with that event header is not the right size. It's got words cut off. It just looks unfinished. It looks unprofessional. It looks not thought through or well planned. So even though, look, Canva is a terrific tool. If you're not using Canva, there are not-for-profit versions. The free version is also terrific. Canva is amazing. You can do a really beautiful poster in there with the templates. But if you've created the poster in Canva, then just resize it and create an image that's the right dimensions for your event, because there's too much text on there. Again, we've talked about wasting digital real estate on text when we've got the caption for the text, and just making sure that your images are fit for purpose. Now, again, this is an example of another Port Phillip community group using their image and including, so they've got lots of duplicate information in here because they've used their image with the same information that, now they've done a good job of putting that information down here in their caption. They've used a few emojis. It's all the same, but it's like, it's just duplication, and it dilutes the reach. It dilutes the impact of that. They've branded it up, etc., etc. The Repair Cafe one is not that relevant. Now, this was one of the ones that has been shared from Agricultural Victoria with the QR codes. Now, what I want you guys to do is really just please note that, I animated them so carefully and then broke it. There's a number of these groups that are all using QR codes on social media. And I understand the posters are being just shared as they are. What do you need to look on for a QR code, right? You need your phone. And if you're viewing social media, do you just grab your partner's phone or your neighbor and grab another phone to stick it on the top? Please do not use QR codes on social media. It's just a domino stack of phones that you need. Just include the link. If you've got Facebook, then include the link as like a bit.ly link or a tiny URL. You can include the link as the first comment, because the platforms want to keep you on the platform, and will penalize it if you take people elsewhere. But if you're using Instagram, Linktree is your best resource for that. So you can have multiple different links. Linktree is free. You can have find out how to be a member, buy tickets to our fundraiser, click here to register to come to our next working bee. You can have whatever you want there in Linktree. You can have multiple different links. But yeah, please don't use QR codes on social media. It's bad for users. It's a bad experience for users, and there's better ways to do it. I wanted to give you this example again. This example, we talked before about graphic images and photos. This is something in St Kilda. They went to a lot of effort and create all of these branded graphic kind of images. Again, treated it kind of as a poster, included that information on the text. And we also had, as a comparison, we can see that the engagement on their photo posts is significantly higher than it is on their graphic posts. Now, that's just one very small example, but generally photos of posts with people in them are going to get the best kind of engagement. People doing stuff, or those things of beauty, those, you know, close up little gorse seedlings, the back of the ute with the back of the car with the plants in there, are generally going to get the better engagement. Now, I've popped this in here. This is an East Gippsland one, but this is just the difference between the platforms. Okay, now, if you are using Facebook and Instagram, my hope is that you are just cross-posting. So you create one post and it goes to both platforms, but it is going to look different. Just know that it is going to look a little bit different, which is totally okay. But also your different platforms will probably perform differently. So this one here was on the left, had the 3 photos there about a fluker post, which I didn't even know what that was. But they had it set up 37 different people, 10 comments, 2 shares on their Facebook page. Okay. On the right-hand side is the post on Instagram. Obviously, we've got the 2 other photos there as the carousel. And, you know, people can scroll through those to find it. Significantly less engagement on Instagram. Their audience, the reasons are that their audience is much smaller on Instagram. They do have an older demographic who are much more comfortable in Facebook. But the reason I'm showing you this is just don't feel bad if your stuff gets much better engagement on one platform than it does on the other, okay? Because naturally people are more comfortable in one space and more active in one space than the other. You will still pick up different people in different platforms. So cross-posting to both is still a really smart way to maximize the content that you do have time to create, and make sure that you are giving people as much opportunity as possible. This is another example of the same post and what it looks like on LinkedIn. This is a Guide Dogs Australia LinkedIn post. You can see the images they've chosen. They've tagged in Cole's group. And then what it looks like on Instagram, again, is different. Look, huge, 239. They've changed the content slightly. Obviously, it's Guide Dogs Australia, so they probably have a pretty great marketing team over there, not just a volunteer, but a slightly more kind of Instagram flavor, yes, chef tag for the header. And then we have the what it looks like on Facebook, a bit more. It's the same images that they've used on LinkedIn, and again, lots of engagement there. Tagged in Coles, tagged in Curtis Stone, same copy as Instagram. Is that your hand up, Jo?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if folks are aware that if you are using Facebook and Instagram, you can separately edit those in the back end. And one thing that we've found sometimes helps is put your call to action or ask a really quite clear question with your preview. You'll see how much text you have for the Insta. So make that your most engaging text. And perhaps if you've got a carousel of images, you can order them so that the best one comes up for Insta first.
That's your best image should always be first. One of the great things about using multiple images on Instagram as a carousel, it's called a carousel as opposed to an album on Facebook, is that you get multiple bites of the cherry. So when you have more than one photo in your carousel, your post will be delivered to people a different time, but with a different image. So that different image might capture their attention in a way that the first one didn't. So you can have, you know, multiple bites of the cherry to be able to engage with people, stop their scroll when you're uploading multiple images to Instagram there. I just threw in LinkedIn because it's another platform, obviously, which is a little bit different, but obviously, and probably you guys aren't in LinkedIn, don't need to be in LinkedIn, but how the structures can look different across different platforms and why it would make sense. Okay, optimal posting tips. So one of the things that I want you to think about and be comforted by is that posting on social media, a bit like being in a community group is a marathon and not a sprint. Okay. I really want you to focus on quality over quantity, because this is a long game. Post when people are online. Okay. Often I find for most community groups, posting between 6 and 9 o'clock at night is when people are online. Maybe your house is like mine and we've had dinner and we're sitting on the couch on different devices with potentially a television on, but that is often a time when most people are online. So scheduling to post at that time makes good sense. And in regards to the amount that you should be posting, every group is going to be different, but for community groups that are run by volunteers, if you can post, look, an absolute gold standard would be 3 posts a week, which for most is not viable. If you can do 2 posts a week, one at kind of the beginning of the week and one at the end of the week or on the weekend, then it shows that your group is active, and it shows that your group, it gives you opportunity to talk about a few different things in a week. So 2 is really great. Even if you can only do 1 consistently, do 1 consistently and do that for a couple of months. And if there's more great content that comes through, or somebody else jumps on board and starts feeding you really great content, really beautiful photos or some videos that they've put together, then you could trial it at 2. But the consistency is key. And yes, absolutely, 1 post a week shows people you are alive. It shows them that your organization is still active, that you are working in the community. And so the fewer posts that you have, the more selective you must be about what you are posting. I know, I think it was Caroline said before, I get pushed a lot of stuff. The great thing about being a volunteer and managing a community group is you only do what you think you only have to do what you think is good. And there is a limit. And when you give people information every day or multiple times every day, what happens is they switch off. When it's less frequent but more intentional, then there's higher value and it has more impact. So it's not like, oh, what are we going to get today? It's like, oh, there's always something new. There's always something from them. Oh, it's like, oh, hang on a second. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Let's do that. Yeah. I would say if you are just sharing other people's posts to keep the numbers up, think about that very carefully. Because if you can do 1 post a week, and I've given you that content pillar strategy now, we've got that thanks to Google, the pest management plan idea structure, you could essentially create 1 or 2 posts on each of those things. And if you are posting once a week, that would give you months of content. Months of content. And that's without any of the local events that you are doing, any of your kind of membership drives or visiting speakers, anything like that. So be ruthless. Think, what would Jodie do? She'd be ruthless. She'd go, is that post aligned to my group? Is it going to help us achieve our goals? Is it going to help our people understand what they need to do? Is it going to encourage them? Is it going to inspire them? Is it going to help them take better data or understand the bigger picture better? And if it is, then great, we can post that. And if it doesn't, then yeah, you don't have to post it. Just because somebody asks you to post it, you don't have to post it. But so post when people are online. I want you to respond to every single comment, positive or negative. If you can think of social media as a conversation, like literally it's a chat, it's a 2-way discussion, that's where you're going to get the best engagement. You're going to get the best results. People are actually going to engage with your group and be more likely to want to be part of it or get alongside. So think of it as a conversation. I would also just say too, if you are able to plan your content, and I am going to send you all through a content plan, I'm going to show you what that looks like in a moment, include a variety of those sections from the menu. Make sure in that content pillar plan you've got a little bit of variety hopefully there's enough variety in there for you to choose from that things can be consistent, but also there's variety because you know that they're actually all aligned to helping you execute those pest management plans really well. Meta Business Suite, if this is, I know Joe talked about it before. If you're not using Meta Business Suite, you should be. It is your one-stop social media management tool. Better than that, it's free. Yay! Meta built it. It's in their own Facebook and Instagram environment. You can manage and post. You can schedule stories. You can create content. You can put it on different platforms. You can also, if you've ever accidentally, when you're managing a page for a group and you also have a personal page, if you've ever accidentally posted something from your personal page instead of your group page or made a comment, yeah, I think we've all been there and done that. When I am on the go, I have the Meta Business Suite app on my phone. You can also use it on desktop, so it's really nice and clear and nice and simple. If I'm ever posting anything for a client or a page that I manage, I only ever use Meta Business Suite. If I'm out and about on the go, if I'm just mindlessly scrolling Instagram or Facebook on my phone, waiting for a train or whatever, I'll use the native apps, but I only ever use Meta Business Suite because I know that I'm in the right, I'm responding as the right group that I am talking about. Built by Meta for Meta. And again, if you are managing multiple accounts, it's super, super helpful. And also you can track, you can see which posts get really good reach. You can see which posts, you can see the data. The data in there tells you a story, those insights and analytics say, well, 500 people saw this post and 50 engaged with it. It got 3 comments and 14 shares and 74 video plays, as opposed to this post, which was text only, and it went to 7 people and nobody engaged with it, right? That when you can start to see, trends and you can start to see the content that performs really well yourself. Meta Business Suite is super, super helpful. If you are not using Meta Business Suite, as I said to you before, Meta Business Suite, Canva is also an incredibly useful, intuitive graphic design program. It has a free version. It also has a not-for-profit version, which is a discounted version. Linktree also is free. So I use all of these platforms. They all have a free version and they are amazing for community groups, people who are volunteering their time to be manage social media for a group. Yeah. This is sneak peek. This is a little glimpse of the content calendar that I'm going to give to you. Don't tell anyone. It's just, it's Linktree. Linktree. Did I misspell it? But it is Linktree. It is just an Excel document, okay? There's lots of them out there. There is nothing magical about mine. However, every day in the year does have a line. You can customize this as much as you like. You can put your post content in here. You can put your media description of your photo. You can put any links. So if you're going to a website or a SurveyMonkey or a registration ticket linking, whatever it is. If you are managing somebody else who is doing this, there's kind of space for comments and approval, and you can tick it when it's scheduled. It is very simple, but it can be really helpful to help you plan out. It's also really helpful if like there's World Environment Day or Tree Planting Day or invasive species or Native Animal Day. I don't know what there is, but every year there's seasonal, cyclical events that are happening. When you start to create a content calendar like this, the first year you will miss some opportunities, but then you're like, oh dang, yesterday was National Donut Day and we missed that. Okay, that's not a problem. We'll put it in the calendar now because for next year we'll be able to revisit it, and then you don't miss those opportunities again. International Day of Biodiversity and stuff like that. So you guys will all get this is part of the Excel content plan, is part of that email that we're going to send through to you in the email after today, at the end of today. I have talked a lot, and it's a lot of content. Some of it's kind of confusing. Now is the time for questions. If you've got a question that I've missed or that I didn't fully explain, or something else has cropped up for you, please feel free to unmute yourself or pop it in the chat, whichever way you want to address this.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
And I'm not actually sure even what I'm asking, but I know with our Landcare page, you have to have your profile that sits behind it.
Are
Is
you
that
talking
right?
about a page, or are you talking about a group?
So South Gippsland Landcare Network, we have our page, which is public, but you have to set it up. You have to set up a profile page, I think, don't you?
You'll need a Facebook profile to be able to set up a page.
A Facebook profile, but when you do that, you end up sort of with that. So yeah, and I guess you've got to be careful not to use that profile in your commenting and that sort of thing. You've actually got to use the page.
Yeah, you want to comment as the page and not as your personal profile. Yep.
Yep.
Whenever you see in Facebook the ellipsis, so like 3 little dots, or you see the little down arrow, like pointy down arrow, that always tells you there's something more behind this button. So when you click on those buttons, you can often see comment as your page, or like as your page, or follow as your page, or you can toggle between your profiles, so between your page and your personal profile. So those are really helpful little tips to make sure that you're commenting as the right person.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, thanks.
No worries.
Jodie,
yes.
I'd like to ask about, you mentioned in one of your slides about donations, and I'm just wondering how you would present that on a Facebook page. Like, should it be to a link to something else, or do you just say, please contact us via email if you want to donate, or that sort of thing?
That's a really smart question. Part of it will depend on, the call to action will depend on how your group is set up. So if you have like a third party donation platform like Raisely or GoFundMe, or whether you have a website and you have a donation page and a portal that you can link people to, it will depend a little bit on your group's setup. But yeah, does your group have any of those things set up, or is it literally just people transfer money into your account?
Yeah, people just transfer money. At the moment, it's mainly just membership money that goes in to the account.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a little bit of fundraising that members might do personally. But I just sort of thought, it is a good environment to be able to, if you'd like to donate to our project, please do, whatever. And and I just wondered how's the best. We have just recently registered as a not-for-profit charity.
Right. Yep.
So how,
so
should that be marketed?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're now a not-for-profit charity, every donation over $2 is tax deductible. Did you know we're now a registered charity? Our organization runs on donations and sponsorship and the goodness of people's hearts. Every dollar makes a difference and enables us to make an impact in our local community. Every donation over $2 is tax deductible. Please contact us to, if you're able to make to donate. You can also say, sorry?
That's great. I wish I recorded what you just said.
That's fine. Just focus on the benefit. The good news of that is if people donate to you, it's tax deductible. So that's the focus. And
Thank
you could
you.
say,
That's
you know,
really good.
donations of $50 buys us, donations of $20 gives us this, $50 gives us this, $100 gives us this, $250 means we can X, Y, Z. If you can give people, they call it dollar handles. I do a lot of fundraising with different charities. The dollar handle, it's like, oh my gosh, you've just funded a water project for the next 6 months, you know, as opposed to fed a child, refugee child for $6 for a month, or, you know, whatever it is. If you can break it down and make it really practical, people can see what their donation will buy them. But even just, yeah, tell them exactly how to link.
Great, thank you.
No worries.
Got a couple other questions popping up here.
Yes.
So the first is, how often is it okay to repeat posts? And the other one was talking about the use of videos.
Okay. Repeating posts, you would only repeat a post, in my opinion, you would only repeat a post if it performed incredibly well and it was really successful. It got lots of reach, it got lots of engagement, it was a top performing post. Don't repeat a post that bombed. If you need to promote, if you need to talk about the thing and it's important enough that you need to revisit it, then don't repeat the post, but reframe the post, tweak it, edit it, maybe choose a different photo, maybe choose a different call to action, or a different, headline. If you're inviting people to come to an event, frame it in a different way. So yeah, I don't repeat posts ever. If you scroll through my Instagram, I don't ever repeat posts. There's some posts that I talk about that are talking about the same thing, but I always rewrite the copy and choose a different image. So yeah. So if you are repeating posts, only do it once every 6 months or so. Like, don't do it as a regular thing. And also Facebook and Instagram, they prioritize original content. So repeated copy paste is not going to give you a great deal of leverage. And
videos, can you talk
videos, look, videos, we've talked a lot about photos. Not many of you had videos in your social feeds that I could kind of use as leverage, but video, portrait filmed video is going to be your best performing. Even short little snippets is going to almost always outperform anything else. Keep it short. Video is a really great way to, you can connect with people via a video. You hear their voice, you see the movement, you see what they're doing in a different way than you can to a static photo. If you're not confident with videos, just start at home, start practicing, and then just kind of, you'll get better as you continue to practice, and then post them once you're happy. Alternatively, you may have other people in your group who are good at this stuff. You know, you might find someone who sends you amazing photos and goes, oh, I took these photos, would they be helpful? And you look at them and you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Thank you so much. But just start playing in that space. If you have a simple tripod, or if you don't, a toilet roll holder and a bit of blue tack, you can shove your phone, set it up somewhere, set it up on time lapse as a video, you know, clean your lens, turn your brightness all the way up. Those, just start practicing. You can spend a lot of time on YouTube looking at, you know, simple videos for social media. Also, you can get sucked down a massive rabbit hole in that space. So keep it short and sharp, because time is really precious. You guys don't have a lot of it, I know. Like, videos that I post are often, you know, 15, 30 seconds. They're short. They're not highly edited. That's kind of the quick and the dirty behind the scenes. Stories can actually, on Instagram and Facebook, can be a great way to try that, because it's up for 24 hours. Okay, so it's here today, gone tomorrow. And that can be another, people consume content in different ways. So it's another way for people to engage with you.
Yeah. I've only got a couple more minutes. There was one question that I thought might be relevant to everybody. So when you've created what you think is great content, how does Facebook see that content when you as your own organisation shares it to, say, a community group page? Will it show up, or are you better off doing that as a private individual?
Sorry, can you tell me again?
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit confusing. So Latrobe Catchment Landcare Networks put up a post on their own feed.
Yep.
Now we're going to hit the share button and share it to another group that we're part
of. Like local community groups and stuff.
Yeah. So does that show and increase its viewings, or does it not achieve much?
It's a little bit tricky to get analytics on or data on shares in groups, because a number of groups won't take, well, depending on how a group is set up, they may or may not take a share from a business or an organization, and you have to do it as an individual. The individual has to be part of the group and not the group, but it's very hard to get data on shares to groups. Sorry, it's not really a very good answer, but
no, that's okay.
It's the truth. There is not a tool to rotate videos, unfortunately. I wish there was. The only thing in rotating videos, you can try recropping them to a 4:5 ratio, but if they've been filmed in landscape, I don't have a quick and easy or effective solution to magically making them a vertical video. I wish I did. Sorry about that. I'd be much richer. I would love to know, just as we do wrap up, and a few people have already made some beautiful comments, which has been so kind. If there is one thing that you've learned or something that you are going to do differently because of today, like what is the one takeaway what are you most excited to try next? Like, are you excited to try anything next? Or are you just like, oh, it's too overwhelming? Or have you gone, actually, I could give that a go. Maybe I could film my next video in portrait. Don't be lazy and post flyers. Well, if you've got time to recreate a poster, then that would be great too. Canva can make that easy for you. Yeah, the content pillar strategy. I'm really excited to get that through to you. My hope is that helps you frame out that content that you are talking about, so that you can align all your communications and your social media content through to your group's goals in a way that's effective. A post with a good way to vary the dialogue, words, pictures, and images. Good. Aiming our posts at people who aren't our members made so much sense. That's awesome. Spread content out. Yeah, look, spreading that out, it's incredible what can happen to your reach when you start to just give things a little bit of air to breathe. It's really helpful.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jodie. You
My
have
pleasure.
shared just such a wealth of knowledge with us, and really so grateful for you to tailor the session to specifically to land care and land management needs. And we really appreciate the effort that you've gone to delve into that environmental focus and the pest problem that we have that presents itself to all of us, and we really appreciate you doing that, and you've done really well, so thank you.
Thank you.
We hope that in your little patch of the world you can maybe implement some of the things that you've learnt along the way from this as well. So I'd like to also thank everybody who has attended today, or anybody who is watching the recording back, for registering for the first in our webinar series that's funded by AgVic through our Partnerships Against Pests project. Jo and I are having a great time discussing the pest and weed problem in our area, and it's so wonderful to see that we've had a great response. 32 people registered for this webinar, pretty much from across the state. So we're really glad that this information is obviously required in a lot of different areas, and that we could be part of providing that. As we said earlier, we do have another 3 webinars that are going to run shortly, and you would have received the flyer for those. So if you're interested in looking at some of these other areas of pest and weed management, please do register for those upcoming webinars, and keep an eye out for the email that's going to come later today with your resources, the recording, and also that quick survey that we'd love to hear from you. We'd also love to keep in touch, so please feel free to tag us in your posts if it's relevant to do so. Share with us what you have learnt over time, and if there is any way that we can help by cross-promoting events and projects and things like that across our regions, then I think that's what we all here for, to try and get the message out to everybody. So let's support each other's social media efforts, and check in on each other every now and again, and like and comment and engage with each other's posts, because as we've heard, that's really how the algorithm rewards us for the work that we're doing, is to help each other by engaging and engaging with that content. So thank you once again. I look forward to hearing from you all, and I think we can wrap it up there.